Hey, this is Russ Braun. I drew the boys, a lot of the boys anyway. You're in the right place for Pint of Comics. It's like the only podcast better than Ghost of the Stratosphere.
Hey everyone, it's Andrew Morgan, host of the Nomcast, the Netflix original movie podcast. Each week we review the biggest Netflix original movies with special guests ranging from film professionals to comedians to podcasters like Johnny Ganache from the legendary Pint of Comics. Listen and subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at NomcastPod.
Hey there, this is John from Pint of Comics.
And I'm Lloyd, also from Pint of Comics.
And I'm the other John, and you get it by now. As you may know, we sometimes use language on this show that can be described as...
Filthy.
Okay.
Reprehensible?
Crude?
Sure.
Nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, guys. We all know that it's just plain out gutter talk.
You've been warned. Listen in.
You came for Pint of Comics. You've arrived at Scary Larry's House of Universal Horrors.
And now for our lesson. Remember, this is bread. 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 And this is wine. To drink. 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 Good. Good. We are friends, you and I.
This episode, the Pint gets married. That's how you introduce the goddamn Bride of Frankenstein episode of the Larry's Universal House of Horrors.
Nobody saw Lloyd just try to drink his beer upside down?
Was he trying?
Backwards. On the other side.
Yeah.
Beer,
Good.
beer, friend, wine, good. All right, sir.
Yes, we get to see Boris Karloff's great acting skills.
Don't you call him Boris Karloff, motherfucker.
No, it's just Karloff.
Just Karloff.
What?
Sir Johnny Ganache, the Manster, handsome Larry Dwyer,
Nice.
and special guest Karloff on this episode of Pint of Comics.
Karloff. Good.
So, we watched Frankenstein a while ago, put out an episode of that. We've been doing all these Universal horror movies, and here we are with the first I guess, sequel to a movie we've
Sequel, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sequel.
Sequel. Good.
Popcorn. Good.
And if you didn't recognize by all the joking we're doing, in the first movie, Frankenstein didn't talk because, well, how the fuck could he? He is a reanimated motley grouping of corpses, and in this movie, he does get a Larry is you can't. This isn't video. You can't see Larry doing the head motions, but there are some really awesome head motions and vocalizations.
Oh god.
So, Bride of Frankenstein. So the last movie we talked about was in 1933, November of 1933, Invisible Man. Let's jump ahead to the summer blockbuster season, May 6th of 1935. This is officially summer movie season. This is when people are going to the beach and going to the cinemas, and then afterwards doing the Charleston and
Hitting up the speakeasy.
hitting the speakeasy, and yeah, they're doing all that good stuff.
Watching Babe Ruth at the stadium.
Yeah, really going to see Ty Cobb hit a home run and then be horribly racist.
No one liked that son of a bitch when he was alive.
Oh man, directed by James Whale. This guy is three. We've done what? This is the fifth,
Fourth,
fifth.
by James Whale.
This is fifth we've done, and third by James
by
Whale.
Only third.
He did Frankenstein. He did Invisible Man, and now he has done Bride of Frankenstein.
And this was his last of the monster movies.
Yeah, I believe so.
His pièce de résistance.
Can you say that without popcorn?
Yeah, really.
Pièce de résistance.
If you didn't understand Larry's comment the last time, it's because he had a fucking buckshot load of popcorn shoved into his gullet.
Oh, God.
Into my mouth hole.
That's even Oh.
Hey.
All right.
So this one here is written by a gentleman named William Hurlbut. He is the screenplay writer. There's a ton of uncredited people, including R.C. Sheriff, who worked on the Invisible Man script, is based on characters created by, and we're going to call her by her real name, Mary Shelley, not Mrs. Percy Shelley.
Why not?
As they did back in those days, the pre-suffragette era.
Suffragette City.
I knew I couldn't say that word. You and your David Bowie shit. So we got a sequel. We had Frankenstein. Frankenstein ends, if you refer back to the episode that we did. He gets burnt to death in a windmill type of
Accident? Yeah, windmill accident.
Angry crowd.
Fire bad.
Fire bad. They burn the shit out of him, and the movie ends with Victor Frankenstein.
Nope, not Victor. Not in the movie.
No, Henry.
Henry Frankenstein.
Henry Frankenstein convalescing with the first actress to play Elizabeth because apparently she either died or got fired. And
That's one thing we didn't find that out, did we?
It was something health wise. She was still alive, but something health wise prevented her.
Let's make it up. What do you want to say?
I think it was syphilis.
Syphilis.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was syphilis.
I think she had a really bad case of crabs.
Scabies.
No matter what, they couldn't. They shaved her down.
Yep.
They had
scurvy.
They had to shave her head.
She had scurvy.
And the scurvy was in her eyeballs. Yeah.
Man, we're awful.
All right. So what? We're gonna go right into the cast right away. Lloyd, do you have your cast list?
Yeah, I got the cast list.
All right.
There he goes.
Let's talk about who stars in this film, and then we'll talk about the film a bit.
Well, Karloff as the monster.
And you know that because it takes up the entire screen.
The entire screen.
There might even be an exclamation point. I'm not positive.
It is fucking huge.
It is huge.
Compared to the first movie.
Compared to the first one, where he wasn't.
He's not even in it.
It was a question mark.
It was a question mark, right?
Right.
And there's an homage to that in this one.
There is an homage in this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Karloff as the creature.
Yeah,
Right?
Not even the first name, right? No,
Just Karloff.
Straight up Karloff.
Right.
Motherfucker.
And then Colin Clive again as Henry Frankenstein.
Yep.
Valerie Hobson takes over as Elizabeth Frankenstein.
17-year-old.
17-year-old Valerie.
Can
Hobson.
I be totally disgusting right now and say that she's super hot?
Oh, yeah.
And once you said she was 17, I felt terrible. But then I did the math and realized she was
she's like
17.
89 now.
That now she'd be dead. She died in 98.
Okay.
But now she would be 106. So I'm
it's
like
not
on
that
this
creepy.
weird ledge
Yeah, that's
of
okay.
being creepy but not being creepy. But she was
Girls got married at like 14 in
right,
1933.
Right.
Yeah,
She
and-
was certainly 30s hot.
And she was an improvement over the
Totally.
the first actress.
The first one was kind of like school marmy.
Yeah.
And this one was 17 and hot. I mean, it was, I'm sorry, it's the
and
truth.
I guess their first
She's
introduction.
only 17.
17.
Daddy says she's
Singing
too
Warren.
young.
But she's old enough for me.
Whoa, a little weird.
Her first introduction to Colin Clive was in the bed scene where she falls into his lap.
That's
in the
right.
bed.
She has like the vision in the room.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah, that
you,
was
though.
awkward. That was really weird.
What was more weird? The way they hauled the so-called dead body of Henry Frankenstein and who wasn't actually dead. Oh, he's not dead.
He's not dead yet.
No, he's not. He's moved.
He's not dead yet.
I was like, that wasn't in the first movie.
I also wanted to bring up, you mentioned in the cast list, Colin Clive is back as Henry Frankenstein. And if you pay attention to this movie, and I read about it afterwards, he does like 80% of his scenes sitting. He apparently had been in some kind of accident prior to the filming of this.
That's right. Yep.
And he was in such pain and, in some kind of
I didn't know
traction.
that.
If you pay attention to it, like the scenes in the end when they're reanimating the Bride of Frankenstein, he's sitting the whole time.
Man.
It's weird. When he's kind of conversing with Pretorius, he's sitting. Yeah, he does a lot of
I
sitting.
didn't
in this
realize
movie.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
So then there's Ernest
Borgnine?
Thesiger. I'm not sure how you say it.
Yeah, I go with Thesiger.
As Dr. Septimus Pretorius.
Duran Duran's number one hit single from 1986, Pretorius.
I think my favorite all-time name in all of cinema.
it is quickly on my top 10 list. And here's the crazy thing about this movie is, so again, we've talked about it. I am not familiar with these movies. Like, I've never seen any of these movies. That's part of the reason why we're doing this. We brought Larry in because he's seen them all. You guys have seen bits and pieces of some of them at the very least. John's seen more than you, I think. But how did the name Dr. Septimus Pretorius, who is also essentially, whether or not he's really a villain, the villain of this piece, how did I never hear this being a cinema guy?
I don't know.
John, did you ever
I'm in the same boat.
It's been so long since I saw Bride of Frankenstein, and it was never one of my favorites as a kid.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So
yeah, it's.
I knew Septimus.
If you didn't, we'd be doing this show with somebody else.
That's true. Good point.
I'll be honest with you. It sounds like a Roman legionnaire. So I mean,
it totally does.
And you know what's funny too?
Maximus Aurelius.
When he does come to the door, and Minnie answers the door, and he says, "Who is it?" Oh, it's Dr. Pretorius. She's like, "Pretorius? That's not a name."
Yeah. And then she walks 2 feet, turns around and goes,
that's not a name.
She goes, "What was that name again?" And he goes, "Pretorius." And she goes, and this is when she does it like she did in Invisible Man. She looks into the camera and goes, "Pretorius? Yeah. What kind of a name is that?"
That was hilarious.
Our friend Una O'Connor.
And
All right. So moving on, next would be Elsa Lanchester, who played, first of all, Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley.
Yeah.
And The Monster's Bride. Mary Shelley being obviously the author of Frankenstein. Then you have Gavin Gordon.
Go back one hot second.
Yeah.
What's her name again? Elsa Lanchester. There is a prologue scene in this movie.
Yeah.
Which I did not remember at all.
Which is
so
awesome.
good. So smart.
It's very good.
This might be like, I'm not going to say the first.
It's very good on a number of
many levels. So many levels. But before we get into what it's about, in the prologue scene, she's not playing the Bride of Frankenstein.
Right.
She's playing Mary Shelley.
She's playing the author of Frankenstein.
So hot.
With her husband and Lord Byron.
Right. Her husband. Am I the only one that thinks she's so hot in that scene?
No. You saw what I did.
Yeah.
I went ballistic after I saw it.
Whoa, settle down.
They even toned down. They had to tone down the cleavage scenes in there.
She has like a little bit of a gap too.
Yeah, she got a little tooth thing going on.
It's cute though.
Yeah, kind of.
I'll be reading her biography.
Nice.
All right.
So
yeah, maybe you could read it to me.
This just got real weird.
Shit got weird on the point.
Yeah.
All right, Luke,
I was just at the Pride event,
So also in that scene we're talking about is Gavin Gordon, who plays Lord Byron, and Douglas Walton, who plays Percy Shelley.
Lord Byron is quite funny in that
Yeah,
scene.
he's very good.
He is good. He's like, I want to hear about your horrors. How could such a depraved...
No, what did she say?
How can we be so chauvinistic?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just fucking completely chauvinistic
Yeah.
assholes. How could you, possibly a woman, have written such a good piece when I'm the best writer in the world?
And she just undermines him in every bit. That's one of the reasons I love that scene. I'm watching it. I'm like, what? Her acting is just so perfect.
I relish every horror.
She's got this weird little lilt to her, like a smirk, and she's just like, "You guys are a couple of assholes."
Yeah,
right. Well, which is completely James Whale.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Her husband, Percy Shelley, the guy who plays him, he doesn't say much, so he's very quiet. The guy who plays Lord Byron is hamming it up, and she's like on another level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they seem like they're in two different productions.
Yeah, she's like, true. Percy, light the candles.
Well, look at the clothing that they're wearing too. Like he's like in its older Victorian era wear, and she looks like it's more modernized.
Right.
And then Percy himself, who just seems like he's not a fop as much as Byron is, but
still kind of.
Yeah, but he does throw all the credit to her.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that was interesting. It's unusual for something at that time period, anyway. So.
Who else do we got, Lloyd? Anybody else?
Yeah. Then after that, you've got the
I'll talk about
incomparable Una O'Connor as Minnie, and we all know her from The Invisible Man. She was the innkeeper's wife in that. She's just hilarious.
She plays even though this movie literally
I call her
takes
the
place,
Shrieker.
She is the Shrieker. She literally plays this movie takes place like the day after Frankenstein. She plays an employee that apparently never showed up in Frankenstein at all.
Right. Yeah,
she was busy at the inn,
and she's in so many scenes.
She's in a lot of this one. Yeah, she disappears halfway through the first half of Invisible Man.
And I'll go through the rest of this because I'm trying to remember because he wasn't in it that I recall.
Who?
Henry's father.
He wasn't.
Baron. Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
He's
in
not
it.
in it.
And he was great in Frankenstein.
That's why even when
completely
Pretorius
handed
came
up,
in, he even said, "Oh, I guess I'd call you Baron Frankenstein."
Yeah.
When he was laying in bed.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So then, moving on, a couple more. E. Clive as the burgomaster, who we know as Constable Jaffers from The Invisible Man.
And he was not the burgomaster in the first movie.
No, he was. It was a different actor.
Different guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say Burger Master?
Yes, exactly.
Fucking love burgers. I
Burgomaster.
love burgers.
Yeah.
You said you have a tattoo of a burger.
I do have a
right?
tattoo of a burger.
And I'll go with one more here. Once again, friend of of the Pint, Dwight Fry.
Dwight Fry.
He played Carl, one of Pretorius's henchmen, I guess.
He basically plays the same role he played in the first one, just working for a different guy and not a dwarf.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They give him a little bit darker of like a unibrow.
Yeah, they give him a unibrow.
And he's a little bit more capable, I guess you could say. He murders a chick in this, but he strangles.
Oh, yeah.
He I guess he smothers her with a blanket in an alleyway. But,
Oh, fresh is the part, anyway.
Shit happens.
so this movie, what I wanted to say was, so now that we got the cast out
Mm-hmm.
there, what I wanted to bring up real quick is the framing device of this movie, the first part, the prologue. The prologue is interesting because
So unusual.
It's so unusual because it's, as we talked about, it's Mary Shelley, her husband, and Lord Byron in a room talking, and it's storming outside, and Lord Byron has a huge heart-on for her story of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And after a little bit of coaxing, he kind of brings up how much he loved how the story ended, and she tells him, that's not how the story ended.
She's like, wait, motherfucker.
She's like, sit the fuck down. I'm going to spin a tale. All right.
Sit your tight pants down while I tell you the rest of the tale.
And then the way this movie rolls is that it's almost like you're watching like her telling the story.
Yeah.
It's Princess Briding you, right?
Okay.
So she's telling the story now. The shot where they sit down on the, I wanted to say couch, but back then it was probably called parlor chair. They sit down in the parlor chair, and the camera zooms away from them across the room. 1935 was fucking awesome camera work. Yeah. And then it like goes into like kind of like you hear her narration.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe the first example of one of the first movies ever that pick up where another movie left off.
Yeah, it goes right to the burning.
Right to the burning. Yeah. And like they recreate the sets. And in this point, you know, obviously they do talk about and show, you know, the villagers burned the windmill down, and they show the scene again where they throw Henry's lifeless dummy and it hits the windmill.
Yeah, just a brief moment though, not the whole thing.
Just a brief moment.
Yeah.
But in this version, Larry, where did the creature end up? He does not burn to death.
He's in the water.
He's in the basement. He's in the shitty
water
basement. Yeah.
The water closet. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, he
back
just
then.
fell through all the floors,
He fell through all the
down
floors.
And down in some water.
The abyss.
Which protected him from the fire.
Totally.
Kept him alive.
Kept him alive. And then we have...
With some creepy owl.
The owl just keeps popping up.
That's right.
The owl just keeps popping up in that first scene.
Owl, yeah.
Just like staring at him and as he's killing people left
As
and
he
right.
murders people.
Hoot, hoot.
So here's another one of the strange, like, it's only been a day since the actions of Frankenstein.
Yep.
Over the course of one day, the father of the girl who died in Frankenstein went from like a 25-year-old Italian guy
Yeah, right?
to a 62-year-old guy
Yeah, with an old wife.
with an old wife.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's telling him, you know,
Gotta make sure he's dead.
yeah, I got to go in there and see his blackened bones.
Get down there.
His black.
Get down there into the mucky gray water and
Maria drowned and you burned to death or killed by a creature. What am I going to do? Well, I'll tell you what you're going to do, bitch. He gets killed and then you get killed next. Right? Frankenstein.
Yeah, he goes up to the edge and just, boom, falls right in.
He falls right in. Frankenstein drowns him to death. Frankenstein loves drowning people.
Yeah.
Right? Or Frankenstein's creature, whatever you want to call him.
The monster.
And then he pulls the old with trickaroo where she thinks it's the husband. She
reaching up the hand.
Reaching up the hand. She grabs the hand and then she realizes, oh, fuck, it's that flat-headed motherfucker.
the only thing that would have been better is if like she pulled it back and it was like a plastic hand that just came out of his sleeve.
Got you, bitch.
Well, I'm watching this thinking, how does she not know that's this Frankenstein hand? But then she's looking the other direction.
Black or white.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking
She's
white.
just looking the total
She's
other
looking
direction.
the other way. She's trusting it.
Yeah.
And then he almost gets his hands on Minnie. But she comically drops her jacket.
Her hands go up.
Yeah, man.
She's like, whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah.
She
She essentially the monster. She essentially makes when she runs away, it's like a little poof of smoke and a fucking cartoon line.
like she's standing still, but her legs are going.
Right, there's circles. Yeah, there's circles there.
Oh, man.
Dust coming up.
So the creature's back, Larry. What's going on now? The creature is back.
Creature's back. I don't remember. What happened? What
Minnie
movie is
goes.
this?
Minnie goes back to the Castle Dracula.
Yeah, she goes.
Castle
Dracula.
She's like, I ended up in a fucking vampire's house. This is the shittiest day ever.
Yeah, she tells the first person she
Have you
sees
seen my
that
luggage?
Frankenstein or the monster is still alive.
She tells the first person she sees the monster's alive, and the first person she sees is either
They
the
say, "You are
burgomaster-
so full of shit, lady."
The burgomaster, where he just
yeah.
tells her to shut the fuck
He,
up.
he dismisses her, and then she told one person, she goes, "No one believes me." No, Minnie, that dude doesn't believe you.
There's plenty
Try
of-
like four
plenty of other
more
people.
people. Try 4 more people.
Right.
Shut up, woman.
Let them all be murdered in their beds.
Yeah, that's what she says.
Yeah.
She does say that. So they get back to Castle Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
And at the same time, they are...
Well, they're pulling Henry in.
They're pulling Henry in. They think he's dead.
And they're lamenting his
because
death.
his
Which is an odd way of
well, he
going
was the only doctor in the village. So everybody else are just like, he's dead.
He's dead, and his new wife is waiting. So let's take his corpse back.
Yeah. Let's
She'll
make sure
probably
she's
want to
aware.
see this on her wedding day. Hey,
dead
here's his
husband.
corpse. Come look.
Now, you paid for the pictures. We can still take them. You ever see any of those old-timey pictures of people taking bodies with pictures with corpses? Have you ever seen any of that stuff?
I don't think so.
That was a thing. Like,
yeah.
It is
Like
creepy.
selfies with a corpse?
No, okay, so someone in your family dies, your brother dies.
Yeah.
And the whole family gets dressed up, and they dress the corpse up, and they take pictures with it sitting up, eyes open. It is
That's
look
fucking
it up.
creepy as
Look
hell.
up like 19th century or
I didn't know that was an old thing, but it's still a thing in different parts of the world. I've seen like recent pictures, like in Venezuela and shit, where they do that. Like they have like the corpse sitting there dressed up like he dressed in real life with a drink in his hand.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting in the corner, and everybody's like fucking partying.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Kinda, but he's not bouncing around.
You're kind of dressed like Bernie tonight, by
He
the
is.
way.
Is this
A Bernie thing? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so if you want to have a little bit of nightmare-inducing stuff, look up like 19th century corpse photography. It's pretty creepy. I remember my mother telling me when she was a kid. My mother grew up in in New York City. She said it was pretty in the 50s, I guess, practice when they would have wakes. They would have them in the houses, and the bodies would be on slabs of ice like the house, like a giant block of ice, bodies on it, and fuck that. And it would last like 2 days.
No thanks.
Ugh. He's not dead. Henry lives. He gets up, and he immediately is basically lamenting the fact that, oh boy, I really fucked things up. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, he's a total drug addict, because he's like, but I created life, and if I had just had more time to teach him, and he's going on about it and everything.
Maybe I could teach him to do my will.
Yeah, he's like, if I could have bent him to my will, he could have been a force for good, and gone and gotten my supper and whatever.
Taking my garbage out.
Yeah, I really am tired of mowing the lawn here at Castle Frankenstein. This fucking thing is like 17 acres. So he's lamenting
I've got
that.
Minnie.
And I do have Minnie. She's only good for the midnight hand jobs. I make her wear a burlap sack over that horrible head of hers and let her go to town. Her wrist snaps. She's got an arthritic wrist. Sometimes she grabs too hard.
Welcome to the Johnny Get Off Show.
All right.
Oh my god, my stomach hurts.
Meanwhile, my this second actress who plays Elizabeth now is super hot. But I think I saw she's 17 and it's even illegal in 1935.
No, it's not.
No, it wasn't.
No, I know.
Definitely not.
Yeah, it was like 14.
She was a legal adult for 5 years.
That's creepy. That is certainly creepy. All right.
Don't forget, people died at 50 back then.
Yeah. You had to start living early when you're dying
Yeah,
at
really.
46.
How many of the cast died after this movie was made?
Like immediately afterwards.
Like
Yeah.
immediate-
Yeah. Funny part is the late Una O'Connor is still alive. No, I'm just kidding.
She did live to. She was doing TV work.
Oh my god. Yeah. So now we have the parallel story. The monster is out there in the world. He's out there walking around the brush, the bushes, and making his noises and his favorite hand gesture. Okay, obviously not a video podcast, but just put your hands out like you're reaching for something, and
shake
then when
them
you
a little bit.
shake it, and then when you don't like something, just swat at it. So just okay, Larry. I want some of your popcorn. And I reach for it, and then I go, suddenly I'm offended by everything you've done. So he's out in the world. He's killing motherfuckers left and right.
The goat girl up on the cliff.
The goat girl up on the cliff. Yep. He scares the shit out of her, tries to drown her. He ends up killing another little girl. Remember, there's like where's Frida? It's a bunch of little girls dressed in white.
Right, yeah.
And they're like, where's Frida? They find Frida dead in the woods.
Yeah. Under a shrubbery.
Under shrubbery.
And we never see how she dies, right?
They never show
right.
They never even
Frida's just dead.
They never even show her.
He ends up getting shot.
They just show the reactions.
He gets shot.
Yeah.
They capture him at one point.
Yeah, it didn't really bother him all that much, though.
No,
he was cool.
No, he gets shot in the arm.
Every now and again, he's like, grabbing at his arm, but
he alludes to it several times.
But no one ever.
No, he's like, so I've been shot. I'm fucking dead.
The Dr. Septimus Pretorius there doesn't even do anything after he's shot. He's like, no.
Yeah, let's just poke at him.
So Pretorius shows up.
Oh, right. When he's convalescing up in his room there.
So give us Henry's convalescing.
And he basically says, hey, get out of bed. I got a way to show you some what I can do with life.
I got some homunculi to show you.
Yeah, I got some stuff.
Yeah.
We got some stuff that you need to see. And he's like, get out of here. He doesn't want nothing to do with it.
Talk about a creepy scene.
But he's got some small people.
Yeah.
And do you remember now, Larry? And I know it's been a little bit because of the delay that we had to record this. Do you remember when he does tell Henry that he has, he's creating his own life as well, and Henry does suddenly get excited again.
Yep.
And he says, come to my abode and I'll show you. And what does he tell Henry that he has to bring?
Oh God!
He goes, is it far? He goes, no, but bring.
Oh, I don't remember.
A coat. It's chilly this time of year,
which is nice of him.
It was very nice of him.
Yeah, Pretorius isn't that bad a guy.
So they go back to Pretorius's place.
Yep.
Now, we learned in the previous scene
that
Pretorius was Henry's professor at the, Goldstadt? Was that Goldstadt or was that Dracula?
Sure.
Dracula was Goldstadt. These movies are fucking blending together.
Yeah.
The Burgo Pass University.
But I think it was in their
BGU.
In their initial scene together, where you kind of get sort of a homoerotic sort of weird vibe.
There is a weird vibe, and I didn't notice it right away, but then I was kind of reading up on Pretorius, and there was a lot of talk about how this character has been perceived in the kind of in the gay community, kind of like we talked about Nightmare on Elm Street. That he's got more than just. He's not just interested in Henry for his fucking knowledge on hearts and brains. He's interested in what's going on downstairs.
Actually, 2 tie-ins to Nightmare on Elm Street too.
Oh, excellent! Go for it.
All right, so one of them.
Do they play probe in this at all?
One of them is right here during this scene where Pretorius says to Henry Frankenstein, "You and I together as fellow scientists might probe the mysteries of life and death."
There it is.
Yep.
Perfect.
That's the first one.
That's the
second
first one.
one's a little later.
All right,
but I'll say this though. You're right though. As I was watching it the second time last night, just to refresh myself, and okay, he's got these gestures that he's doing and these mannerisms that are basically the stereotype of a gay man in Hollywood movies.
Yeah,
I didn't pick up on that the first time I watched it. I don't know why. Maybe because I was falling asleep at the time.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I watched it, I was young, so I know I definitely wouldn't have picked up on it.
Oh yeah, but the first time I saw way back, I never would have seen that.
But being older, you definitely pick up on it.
Yeah. Well, there's one scene too. I don't remember who says it. Whether it's, I think it might be Minnie. She says he's quite queer.
Oh, he's queer. Yeah.
You know, the studio wanted Claude Rains for that role.
Right.
For Pretorius.
Yep, for Pretorius.
Really?
Yep, but James Whale insisted on whatever.
Oh, this guy was great.
Yeah, well, James Whale didn't like him, but he loved his work. He thought he was a great actor. He thought he was perfect for the role, but he didn't personally like him.
Didn't personally
that
like him.
personal, the roll of the tongue he does all the time.
Pretorius. Well, that's why I said he
By
reminded.
that time, Whale had so much pull.
Yeah.
With the studio that they were like, oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, he's making money hand over fist. He's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 1933.
Do you have the line that he says
Of Gods and Monsters?
Well, that line too. But do you have the line he says about how he creates his little people?
No, I don't. I didn't write that down.
Well, do you remember what it was? What is it?
Almost, but basically, so he's created these little people. And
in jars.
Yeah, and he's trying to explain to Frankenstein that he didn't create them, he grew them.
From a seed.
Exactly. I grew them from seed.
Right.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That went right over my head.
The way he says seed, it was.
I'm pretty sure it was his seed.
That hit me right in the forehead. I was like, what?
This one rather resembles me, don't you think?
Right, exactly. I'm like, what kind? That's what I was thinking of immediately. It didn't sound anything like a plant.
Came in a jar.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if they
came in a jar.
That's
Basically what it is.
If they remade this in 2019,
I think so. That's what I thought.
There'd be a scene of Pretorius spunking into a red Solo cup.
And the way he was just so enraptured with these little creatures, and especially the king as he kept climbing out of
King was the best.
Yeah, he was
I want a whole movie on the king.
Yeah, so
That guy was
Hello,
just
queen.
horny.
Hello.
he created this little royal court. He has a queen, he has a king, he has a bishop that's there to stop the king from fucking the queen.
Right.
And then what was it, a mermaid or something?
Well,
No, there was a dancer.
a dancer,
A
a
ballerina.
Ballerina.
And then
the mermaid was at the end.
Yeah, that's right. There was a
And the ballerina would only dance to a certain song.
So, which was driving
made
him
him mad,
nuts.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there was the other guy that looked like him. That was some kind of like
the
Doctor
devil.
Strange.
It was like the devil.
The devil,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because he said, "This one reminds me of me."
Yeah.
Quite evil. And what does
Grew
anybody
him
remember?
from my seed.
Fuck! I did that one right over my head.
It happened.
Does anybody remember what he claims in the first scene with his meeting with Victor? What his only weakness is?
Gin, wasn't it?
Gin.
Gin.
He says it again later in the movie
Yeah.
with something different, I believe.
Because do you like gin?
Yeah, do
It's
you
my
like gin?
only weakness.
This is my only weakness, Henry.
Which I think Gin had. There was something said about Gin in the first movie too. So
never mind.
What?
Come on.
My other weakness.
Oh, is that what you meant?
I am slightly weakened by the dick, also. Henry, I noticed you lay down a lot.
Create.
Henry, how does your seed work? I'm gonna go look at Minnie's hand.
I think
Perhaps I can help you create so many people yourself.
part of the argument he has with him at one point is that he didn't go digging up the bodies and reanimate them.
Right.
He grew them, and it was such a big deal that he grew them instead of.
But the thing that's crazy is, so he's all proud of growing them, but his major, what he wants
they're
to
so
do,
tiny.
Make him
It was a normal size.
full size.
he wants a full size, and his whole idea is, well, you made this creature that lived, that came to life, so we're gonna make it a mate, right? Like, who knows why, but he's like, that's what he says. He goes, we're gonna give her, and as you said earlier, we alluded to it, is in the credits. That's the creature, right? The creature, the monster's
mate.
Monster's mate is question
With
mark.
a question mark.
Much like they did with Karloff in the first movie,
Karloff,
good friend,
fuck Karloff.
baby Ruth.
Karloff can smell my shit.
Shit, good.
So even though Henry Frankenstein has kind of
I'll watch that tonight.
said that he is not he regrets what he did, he agrees to work with Septimus, right? Like
they agree.
they agree to work together.
I think reluctantly.
Too. He
It's
was very
reluctantly,
reluctant. Yeah.
But like until the end of the movie, he never threatens Henry into it. Then he
Right.
does eventually.
Oh no, he does definitely.
It's just it's like
There's
this,
no real reason for
Right.
yeah.
for their collaboration.
No.
just
Not on Henry's part, anyway.
right.
It's almost like
Pretorius wants to learn how to make a full-size person.
Right.
Henry, I think it's just really his quest to fucking make life.
yeah.
And he's just like, he swore it off, but
For a day.
didn't really fucking
One
swear
day
it off.
caused a shitload of murder.
Yep.
He fucked up his relationship. He almost died. He was thrown, or at least his stunt dummy was thrown from a fucking windmill.
Right.
He was almost hurt. And one day later, he literally is just like, "Fuck it, let's do this.
Yeah.
And let's give it tits this time."
My wife suddenly became younger.
Yeah. He's like, "Hey, look, something worked.
Yeah.
My wife went from like 38 to 17." Daddy says she's too young, but she's old enough.
for me.
So so we got these parallel storylines. Now I do want to get into this part here. So the monster gets captured.
So he is captured.
He gets captured by this group of this mob. It's actually funny because I was watching it today. I got home from work. I was like, I had to set up, and then I was like, I got to watch Bride of Frankenstein again. I'm watching it today. Lou is the first one to come over, and Lou comes over during one of those scenes, and Lou goes, an old movie mob. Because, and I said to him, this is the 9th in this movie alone. Yeah. There's mobs in like every fucking 5 minutes of this movie.
But there's mobs in like every 5 minutes of every movie from 1920 and 30s.
Right.
Yeah. There's always a fucking angry mob.
It's like in today's day and age.
That's why the Simpsons make fun of it still.
Yeah. It's like in today's day and age, they might get together and have a baseball game or something. Back in those days, all everybody ever did. What the fuck? It's the wax from my cheese.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a cheese roll wax.
It's a cheese cheese wax.
It looks like an eyeball over here.
Substance.
Here, you can touch it. So Frankenstein's monster.
Can I just say?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When he's roaming around in the woods and he finds the goat girl.
Yeah.
Goat girl. It's very lush woods. There's waterfall. It's beautiful. And then when the mob chases him, he's in a totally different woods with like telephone pole trees.
Yeah. No, there's not a lot
totally
of
different looking place.
Yeah, they definitely switched spots there.
Yeah. They probably filmed it like fucking 4 months later.
He does get spotted awful quickly, though.
Yeah.
He is.
He's fucking 7 feet tall.
Well, yeah. And then he's killing everybody.
He's 7 feet tall, leaving a swath of murder, and he makes fucking noise all the time.
He's got a flat head.
The Burgermeister.
His hands are sewn on.
And did you notice?
Everybody's cell phones are going nuts because he's fucking cold. Like, I got no fucking reception. Oh shit, it's that fucking dude.
I love that the Burgermeister is just like, just get him.
Yeah.
And you know what's cool? The look of them is different. First of all,
they did change the makeup.
Right, the hairline, the bangs are gone. It's just kind of like burnt off hair.
It's like burnt head, yeah.
But if you look, he's more cheeky.
You know why?
I think
I know why.
Probably because he made money and got to eat more as a human being.
No.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Right?
Because in the original they had his like mouth stuffed, but in this one they wanted him to speak.
No.
Yes.
No.
Fucking yes.
This one,
it's a little bit of everything.
This one, I'll tell you what they did.
Okay.
Karloff wore dentures, and in the first movie, they made him take the dentures out. That's why
give him a hollowed face.
That's why his face was sunk in.
Well, they've done that in the Mummy too. Then
in this one, he wore the dentures
because they wanted him to speak.
They wanted him to talk. Exactly. Right. So yeah, you could totally in that first scene. And I will say, his entrance in this movie is pretty fucking cool. When it's like when he's in that water basement, and you just see the arm come out, and then he just comes out. It's actually a pretty like memorable.
Yeah, they didn't waste any time.
No, it wasn't like when you're making like movies that are 58 minutes long, you got to fucking move.
They did that twice though, because his entrance in Frankenstein was very good too.
Well, that was when he moonwalked into the room.
Yeah. But I mean, the reveal of it was really good.
You're right.
So they definitely did it right, and you're right. The dentures. I was thinking that they'd stuffed it.
I would always defer to you.
I just remember that. No, you're right, but I just remember that the reason was so he could talk.
Right.
But I thought it was a stuff.
I always defer to you on these things, but I just had read that.
All right.
And it is true because there is, if you watch Frankenstein versus Bride, there is a marked difference in how fat his face looks. Mm-hmm. So he's out there. He gets captured by the mob. They put him on a kind of like a fucking pole and drop him into the back of a wagon of some sort.
Yeah, basically.
And they bring him to Castle Dracula.
It always reminded me of the poles like from Day of the Dead, like when they were catching the zombies.
Yeah, when they're corralling them. Yeah. I love this part because again, like we were just talking about how they don't waste any time. They capture him. They put him in the basement of Castle Frankenstein. They hook him to this fucking incredible, chain thing, and he just rips the fuck out of it.
Which they conveniently have.
No time.
You show me the jail that has just the fucking huge shackles.
Yeah, that neck shackle they put into him.
With a chair big enough to hold him.
Yeah, it was...
Oh, look. Well, this is perfect. Look what we just happen to have in our jail cell.
Well, but
a giant chair and giant shackles.
What you got to remember, though, is this is also the same world where the Castle Frankenstein is also rigged with 96 pounds of C4.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just remember, he is just a madman, according to the Burgermeister.
That's right. Yeah. No,
just a madman.
Just a madman. But you're right. The makeup difference in this with you can definitely notice like the hair's gone in the front. Yep. There's like the scarring
because they burnt him.
They burn him up.
Right.
They burn him the fuck out.
So he escapes from his shackles.
Escapes from the shackles
real quick. As soon as the door shuts.
As soon as the door shuts.
Fucking breaks chains. He's gone.
He pulls
Shoot him!
He pulls those fucking chains out of the ground.
Yeah, like nothing.
It felt like watching Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno in like 1977. Pulls those fuckers out. He rips the fucking thing off his neck. He just gets up and then he walks out. I think he murders a couple folks.
Just starts murdering fools left and right.
Well,
they're firing on him through the window.
Yeah.
And I don't think they even hit him, did they?
No, they're stormtroopers. stormtroopers. It's a bunch of
They really
a bunch
are.
of fucking stormtroopers. So he ends up
Bashes
kind
them up
of
pretty good.
going back out, and he's back in the woods again. And then we get to the honestly, I know.
Oh, then
you
he
guys
gets to
are-
the hermit scene.
You guys are gonna laugh at me, but this fucking hermit scene it's emotional. It's kind of
Yeah.
sad.
It's a blind hermit.
This blind
Come
hermit.
in, my friend.
playing a violin.
This
It's the guy from fucking Zeppelin 4. Like,
yeah. That's who that is.
It's got the fucking lamp and the cane.
Yeah.
seems like the gods took a punch on the nose and the heart and the low and I might be sinking.
That is the best Zeppelin I've ever heard.
Yeah, you're right.
It's
But
not Gene
the
Hackman,
music
though.
sad.
It's not Gene Hackman.
No, it's not
No,
Gene
it's
Hackman.
not Gene Hackman. It's I don't know.
Might as well
am
be,
I the
though.
only one that feels like that whole scene? I mean,
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It's sad. This fucking poor blind guy just wants a friend. Frankenstein just
prayed to God.
like it's over the top, but it's like he delivers it with.
Oh wait, did he? Did we skip the gypsy scene?
Oh, where he goes crushing through the gypsies. Is that before or after?
Oh,
They got a chicken roasting.
the chicken
Yeah,
roasting.
and he
over
steals the
fire.
chicken. It's like, "Ah!"
One of my favorite
was
parts
pretty
of
good.
the gypsy scene is one of my
think
favorite
that's
parts.
after.
It might be after.
I think it's after.
One of
I'm
my favorite
sorry.
parts of the gypsy scene
forget,
is
though, honestly.
is how so he walks into a gypsy camp and they're roasting a chicken. And before he walks in, and this reminds me of the mustard from the Invisible. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I know.
The old lady is smoking a pipe and she goes, "You ain't got no salt."
I'll get you your damn salt.
It's like it's 1933. We're gypsies. We have a fucking chicken. Be fucking happy, Mom. And the gypsy wife is like, "This is why I hate your fucking mother. My cooking is never good enough. I put pepper on that. I made beer from scratch. I have the chicken. I had to kill it with my bare hands. I had to fucking rip its spine out with my fingers. And she wants the salt. I'm leaving you, Kenneth."
Kenneth.
And then that guy, the one gypsy guy, he wants to fight him over this fucking chicken.
Yeah.
was funny.
Again, that's
a chicken.
It's a chicken in 1930 whatever.
Yeah.
When you're a gypsy, that's a fucking big
very
deal.
very ambiguous time period for
Yeah.
this one too.
Yeah.
That's why this lady with the salt makes no fucking sense. You're lucky to be eating tonight,
Complaining
Virginia.
about the spices.
Come in, friend.
Come in, yeah, so come in, friend. And then he goes on this whole thing about I've prayed to the Lord.
Oh, back to the hermit,
That
yeah.
I would have a friend that would be with me, and I love, he makes the this is a line I love. This blind hermit who lives in a cabin in the woods, who would be here to comfort me in times of sorrow and trouble. I'm like, your whole life is times of trouble. You're a blind fucking hermit.
Except
But he's got a house.
he's got a house.
He's got a
He's
little
got a
house.
violin. He's got food. He knows how to cook.
He's got a fire.
And then,
He's got wine, right?
He does have wine.
well, that's the thing is like he immediately
He's doing pretty good. He's doing better than me.
But he immediately turns his
doing better than Larry.
his new best friend. He turns him on to every vice he can find in the.
He certainly does.
So
He's like, look, you can drink.
Friend, come here. I've got the cocaine.
That's all I was waiting for. Where's the damn pills now?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got prostitutes coming.
I was gonna say the only thing he didn't do is go, come here. This is Pornhub.
Pornhub.com.
This is
right here.
Pornhub.com.
Sit down, my friend.
Sit down.
Take this sock.
There's lots of gay porn on
Take this
here.
sock.
Take this sock. Make it crispy for me. Make it crispy for Daddy.
Make a crunchy Frankenstein sock. So, is it safe to say that the title of this episode is going to be Crunchy Frankenstein sock?
Yes. I don't care what was said before or after. Crunchy Frankenstein sock for the win.
All right.
Oh my God.
But this hermit is one who
We're
teaches him
way off base
to
here.
speak.
He teaches him.
He teaches him love and friendship. Oh, jeez. All right.
Give it a second.
We got to stop.
Give it a second. Holy cow. This episode's had a lot of jerking off talk in it. Oh my God. Oh my God. My glasses are steaming up.
It's getting hot in here.
He teaches him love and friendship.
He teaches them love. He teaches them friendship. What else? Like, what else does he teach them?
How to speak.
He does. He teaches them how to
pretty
speak
much, yeah.
quickly, like For someone with what we learned in the first movie has
Say
a
bread.
has a terrible like abnormal brain.
Bread.
Yeah, he loves bread.
Yep.
Oh, and then he lights up with like a cigar.
He loves cigars.
He's like, no fire.
Smoke.
No fire. Good.
When he teaches him about the bread, he also obviously needs to teach him manners because he tells him, he goes, "This is bread," and he fucking takes it and bites out of the rind of bread.
Yeah.
I wanted the blind guy to go, "That's for everybody," but then I remembered he's fucking blind,
Yeah, he
so he
can't
didn't
see.
see it.
I love how he guzzles the wine, though. That's-
He fucking well.
Drink good.
It reminded me of Jeremiah was a bullfrog because he really likes his mighty fine wine. He was the drink good, smoke good, and then he's addicted because that's how he came to the house because he heard the violin music.
Yeah.
He goes and gets the fiddle and makes this guy. He's like, "Fiddle for me," and as I love
Dance
it,
for me, monkey.
As the guy's fiddling, he's just sitting there fucking smoking. I'm fairly certain it's not a cigar. I'm fairly certain this is like a.
He's all
blunt.
fucking strung out.
He's all strung out. It's angel dust. He's already fucking Frankenstein strong. Now he can punch through the fucking moon. So yeah, they have this nice little moment.
Frankenstein is strong.
They have this beautiful little moment of friendship, and you really feel. Well, we kind of skipped this too. I also thought this was really funny when he first comes in. When they first are becoming familiar with each other, Frankenstein like makes it clear that he's kind of hungry. So he's like, "I'll get you my slop," and he goes over and gets him a bowl of food. He gets the bowl of food, right? And I love this part. He gets the bowl of food. He drinks the bowl, and he hands it back to him. And then he goes, "Now sleep." And he goes, "Lay down and sleep, friend." It's like, I just had stew. Like, shit my pants. This guy thinks sleep is as important as the Invisible fucking Man. The Invisible Man was all about the sleep too. He gives him a bowl of fucking gruel. Who knows what's in it?
He just wants to curl up next to him.
He's like, "Friend, big spoon, little spoon." Oh my god.
Yeah, they do spoon too.
They do. They have this wonderful friendship that in reality lasts 18 minutes, and you're like, "Oh, this could be it. Frankenstein could be happy forever. The blind guy's going to take care of him." And then a couple of jagoffs who are lost in the woods.
Yeah.
The Blair Witch Project.
Hey, old man.
The Blair Witch Project kids stumble by. We're lost in this wood, and of course, just like everybody else, they immediately go, "It's the fucking monster!" And and that place. Okay, so Frankenstein freaks out, and I don't remember. Does he kill those guys, or do they get away?
I don't remember.
No, I don't think he kills him.
He doesn't kill him. He definitely hits one of them.
He hits one of them and
Yeah.
knocks him into the fire.
Yeah.
And
the other one he doesn't hurt.
he gets out.
Right.
He gets away.
Because I think the other one might be how they find out he's still out there.
Yeah, I think because I think that's John
that's right.
Carradine, if I remember right.
Okay, is that
I
him?
think that's the same guy. So
The place is made of fucking straw and clay and whatever and violins. That fucker goes up immediately.
Yep.
Matter of fact, if you pay attention when Karloff comes out, it's obviously not an effect. When Karloff comes out of the building, a fucking backdraft or something. Did you notice this? Shoots out of the fucking out of the window of the place, like pretty fucking intense.
Really?
Yeah, it's like he probably got his ears singed off and probably hated James Whale for that even more than he already hated him for making him carry Cloud and Clive up the hill 18 times in the first movie in boots that weigh 76 pounds.
The guy's 50 years old.
Yeah.
Boris Karloff's like fucking 50 years old.
Wow.
Don't you call him Boris Karloff?
Oh, just Karloff.
Just
Sorry.
Karloff. Fuck Karloff.
Yeah. Fucking arthritic. He's wearing a fucking suit that weighs like 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Covered in makeup.
Oh yeah, he was
stumbling
hurt
around
during
in
the
real
whole filming
fire.
of this too.
Yeah.
What's that?
He was hurt during the film of that. His back.
Yeah, his back
Yeah.
was all fucked up, and yeah. All right, Larry, where are we at now? What else is going on in this movie? So he's running away from these people, and do we drop back? We drop back to this is the portion where we drop back to Septimus, Pretorius, and Frankenstein. Now they're
in the lab.
Now they're in the lab. Now it's like it's go time, right?
Yeah. Now it's time to make the mate, right?
They got to make the mate.
Well,
Oh no!
They don't do that
No,
until
Frankenstein escapes the hermit's hut, and then he goes to the graveyard and goes down into like the mausoleum.
That was a weird scene.
Yeah, and you get
Like,
that whole
Pretorius
comes down with his henchmen
and has a picnic in a mausoleum.
Yeah.
Well,
They
Pretorius is a strange guy.
they get
That's right.
the young girl who has died, and they get her.
Oh yeah, and they're checking her out.
What do they get from her? Her brain or something? I don't know.
I forget. They're just looking at her like,
Yeah.
oh, she's a pretty one, you know? Like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Right.
And that's where you see Dwight Fry.
This is where Dwight Fry
That's where he comes in.
I think I
Dwight-
blocked this out.
Yeah. Oh, well, because this is where
Yeah.
Pretorius kind of gets Frankenstein's monster under his wing.
Yeah.
Because he lures him in with more booze.
Yep.
And cigars.
Talks
and
about the gin again.
I think he gives him. I think there's more chicken involved, right? He's like, "Would you like some food?" So he's basically
Yeah, Frankenstein comes over to him after Dwight Fry leaves, and Pretorius is just having a little picnic all by himself.
yeah, it's fucking weird.
And the monster comes over, and they start talking. He goes, "You know who you are, right? You know who Henry Frankenstein is?" And he goes, "Yeah, he made me from dead."
Right.
Right. And then he said, "Well, we're gonna make you a mate." A girl, a woman.
Okay, so
his vocabulary kind of really
all of a sudden he's like
up.
Shakespeare.
he
learns 2 or 3 words, and now he's like Shakespearean.
He's fucking Grimlock is what he is. Me, Grimlock,
That's a Transformers joke. I saw
Grimlock. I'm not sure.
Grimlock is the Tyrannosaurus Rex from the Dinobots, and he talks like that.
Me, Grimlock, say.
You Optimus Prime.
No good.
Friend, good.
What is a Dinobot?
Come on, man.
I'm serious. What the fuck is a Dinobot?
Come on, you're in that age range, right?
No, I am. Yeah.
Dinobots were the fucking dinosaur Transformers. The Autobots.
do not remember
They were
dinosaur
Autobots.
Transformers.
There was a Stegosaurus, a Triceratops. Grimlock was the leader. There was a pterodactyl. There was 5 of them, right?
Yes, there were 5.
Look at he's going technically, but if you want to get into Generation 2 and Beast Wars,
No, fuck that. No, that's a whole different story. But yeah,
No,
Yeah.
I got nothing.
do you remember the
Actually,
Constructicons?
No.
6.
No,
No, there were 5.
You were playing with like.
I remember Decepticons, but not
They were just the
Constructicons.
overall bad guys,
Right.
Yeah,
What was the leader of the Decepticons?
Megatron.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember him. I had a bunch of them. I had the one that turned into a fucking boombox, which was awesome.
Soundwave.
Blaster. I thought it was Blaster.
Well, Blaster was another one. Yeah.
Oh, Blaster, yeah,
The
right.
Autobot
He was the
version.
Autobot version. You're right.
yeah, I don't remember any fucking dinosaur Transformers, though.
Was that part in the movie? Did I miss that?
Which movie?
Bride of Frankenstein.
Wait, you're
All right, you're somewhere else. Sorry.
Poor people out there are like, I didn't tune in for fucking jerk off talking Transformers.
That's my fault. I'm
This
sorry.
whole episode's been about snapping off and fucking Transformers.
Yeah.
When we meander, we really meander.
Yeah, we do. That's all right though. People like that.
I got really thrown off by the fucking dinosaur Transformers.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
I saw you.
I
looking
forgot
at me
where
going,
it even came from.
I'm like, in my head, I'm looking at you. I'm like, is he making this up? Is this a real thing?
He's making this up.
Me make it up.
Because it's a great idea.
It's
You
awesome.
should
too.
roll with it.
The toy of Grimlock was awesome too because the Tyrannosaurus head popped off and went back, and then you opened up his chest, and that's where the robot's head was.
Well, holy shit.
Yeah, wow. And then the arms came out.
Transformers.
More than meets the eye. All right, so
All right, back to it.
So now we get to the point where they're in the lab. We're gonna move along a little bit. And they're going to create the Bride of Frankenstein. Now, did you notice that the name of this movie is The Bride of Frankenstein? We're at the very end.
We haven't seen a bride
We haven't
at all.
seen this bitch yet. So I do want to say this, and we were talking about this earlier because we were watching the scene before you got over and before Larry got over. We talked about it in the Frankenstein episode, how cool the set design and the effects for the
Frankenstein.
For the Frankenstein scene of reanimation was.
The
10 times better.
The bride stuff blew it away.
This is like, it's like...
Not only the actual sets, but the filming of it, the obscure angles.
The angles were weird.
They were Batman
angle,
66 angles.
Yeah, like when they were wheeling her over to the station, it was all tilted, and just everything that I loved when Pretorius sends Frankenstein sends what was his name?
Carl.
Carl.
Yeah.
When he sends Carl up, release the kites.
Oh, the kites. That was another awesome
these fucking
thing.
badass kites go up that are going to catch the lightning.
Yeah.
All the effects.
Ben Franklin style.
That antenna thing that's on the roof is bigger and crazier looking.
Oh, that crazy. Yeah, I don't know what you would call that.
Yeah, the spiral,
the battery thing.
And even on her table, that bulb end thing over her that's like glowing and making noise.
The noise.
What did you think, Larry? Did you think this was like? Were you fucking super impressed by this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you're right. The Frankenstein one was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like, this was just. You could see that they
the apparatus in this one just blew that away.
Yeah, they amped it the fuck
They
up.
pumped more money in it. Tens of dollars of money.
Tens of dollars. Well, even earlier, even before they get the body to rebuild it, and they're testing the heart, and you've got that. Heart
we
meter.
skipped over the heart.
And I'm like, that is the creepiest scene where they're just like leaning over this heart and going, but some more saline solution.
Pour more saline into it.
Did that heart die? We have to get a fresh one.
Yeah, they had to send.
We'll get a fresh heart.
Another one.
They sent Carl to get another fresh heart. and he murders a girl.
They don't show it, but they imply it.
But
where did you get it?
He can't tell Frankenstein that he murdered a girl for it because even though Frankenstein is very much
he's not into that.
He's not into that. So when Frankenstein asks him, "Where did you get the heart?" And there's that great scene where Pretorius like mouths to him, "Police," and he goes, "It was a police case."
Yeah.
How fucking cool is that? They're fooling Frankenstein.
Oh God!
So they get the whole scene.
Yeah.
They send her up there. The kites are up there. It's storming out. I even like that scene where Frankenstein uses those that weird apparatus to listen. And he goes, "The air is full of electricity tonight." Like just the whole idea. It was like whoever designed all that and the thought process behind it was ahead of their time.
Get that fucking thing away from me!
Get that cat out of here.
Was this before or after the monster kills Carl?
No, this was all during. Yeah. The monster goes up to the top.
Monster,
to the
the
tower.
monster's almost like an afterthought at this point because we
Well,
also
he came
want to
in
mention
because he came in and he was trying to push Henry around,
Yeah.
and Henry was like, "I need sleep. You walk."
Yeah.
And so then Septimus drugged.
Yeah, all of a sudden
Give
he's
him
a
a
slave
Mickey.
driver.
Yeah,
the monster.
he roofies him.
Yeah, he does.
He roofies
Yeah,
the
right
monster
in front of him.
and then throws a fucking
Blanket right over him.
Yeah.
He'll
And we-
sleep now.
We actually didn't mention that the reason that Frankenstein is now more devoted to the work is because Pretorius in his little picnic time with Frankenstein's monster has now made him his henchman, and they captured hot ass Elizabeth, right?
Yeah.
And and as proof of life that she's still alive, they use a telephone. He's like,
Talking machine.
she's going to call on this talking machine.
Did you notice too when they captured Elizabeth and the monster takes her back? Dracula flies by.
I did
you see that?
I did see a bat, and I didn't think about that.
It's got to be Dracula.
Yeah.
He was looking for the luggage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking for Renfield's luggage.
My luggage must be here somewhere.
Can you imagine on the internet in 1935 people going, "Did you see the cameo by Dracula? These movies do take place in the same universe."
Where the fuck is the luggage?
The case of the missing luggage.
He's looking for the Burgos path.
Yes. Excuse me, how far do the Burgos pass?
I'm surprised that scene wasn't after the credits.
Yeah, really, like 3/4 of the way through the credits. The credits that last half a minute in these movies. All right, so they bring her to life. All right, let's get to the end. They bring her to life. They unwrap her. Boom, fucking iconic visage, right? Yep. She's got the fucking. I don't know how they got that hair.
Such a great scene.
I don't know how they got the hair.
They put a wire mesh cage over her head and then just combed her hair up along the cage.
No, what I that's a great effect. I mean,
but what do you mean?
How her hair looked so like it was under the bandages normally.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, they show her wrapped up and then all of a sudden they show her fully dressed.
Boom, Marge Simpson, right the fuck there, right? So she's in this gown and it's the same actress who played Mary Shelley in the beginning. She's not quite as hot here, but if you're into gothy stuff, I'd say you
much
probably
hotter.
dig that. Yeah, I was gonna say
here.
you probably dig much hotter.
I disagree.
Not me.
Yeah, and for a dead chick, she's not bad. She's only got some
But I've
scarring.
always heard that.
Yeah.
She's
got some scarring
under
across
her
the neck
chin
and the chin. So okay, now Septimus, boom, we made you a fucking mate. Let's go get Frankenstein. Bring him in here. Let's introduce him. Fucking immediately shit goes wrong.
Her first response is just fucked up.
Well, he's so excited to see her.
He's like, "Oh, I've got a girlfriend." Yeah.
He's got a chub.
Touch her. He's got a chub. He's fully. He's for a dead guy. He's fully hard. He touches her arm, and I didn't think about it, but you brought up what you said that she modeled that scream after because it's true. I've seen this happen.
Well, before
that was towards that was towards the very end.
She's just like kind of like.
Well, she had that ack sound.
We're talking about
you're
talking about the noise.
yeah, I know. But that's towards the end when when he's about to pull the lever.
So the
She
act
does
sound.
that
the lever.
I can't even make that noise.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell that weird noise.
That goddamn
Like a
ack
weird-
sound. She sounded like the Mars Attacks alien.
Yeah, so when she
I'm like,
first sees
what
him,
the
she makes
fuck?
that, which was really strange. I mean, unexpected.
That's a weird pull. If
Yeah.
they're like, hey, what sound do you think she would make?
Yeah, exactly. Instead of anything else, it's like,
Yeah. It reminded me when Hulka fucking went down in Stripes.
Oh yeah.
Does that mean we don't have to work anymore today? Starts choking John Candy.
Hulka is the big toe. But you said that was based. You said that was based on a swan.
On a swan. That's at the end when he's about to pull the lever.
Yes,
And she
okay.
does a weird, it's like a hiss almost.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah, she said it was based on swans fighting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, He immediately gets rejected.
So she rejects him.
He
yeah.
tries a little bit more.
He caresses her hand, and then she really lets out a
doesn't
scream.
light it.
That's a pretty loud scream.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
right in
Oh,
his face.
hell
Yeah,
of a
he's like,
wail.
"Oh
She
shit,
fucking blasts.
this ain't gonna work. She ain't
looks
digging
around
me."
a lot.
She does.
Yeah.
She looks
she's-
puzzled.
Yeah, she's very confused.
She looks puzzled.
Yeah.
The herky-jerky movements and all
Very
that.
So
Sorry.
Frankenstein's monster's
Except when
like
she's walking.
no, she was kind of she walked with her arms out, right?
with her
She was
arms.
kind of like mummy,
But
like,
she was also sort of guided by
yeah.
Frankenstein.
Kind of guided her
Yeah.
along. So now
I can have a
Frankenstein's monster.
threesome now.
Frankenstein, yeah, really. Frankenstein's monster decides, well, fuck this shit. If I can't have her, but he also kind of pulls like a nice guy move. So he goes over into the laboratory and he finds the lever that every laboratory is equipped with.
It's a fucking
Yeah.
lever, man.
The
Lever.
He finds
Lever.
he finds the lever that every laboratory is equipped with that will now destroy everything.
Yes.
But right before this happened, Elizabeth happens to come to the door.
Yeah.
That's right. She
On the
gets
outside.
Oh.
She,
Yeah.
yeah, she somehow got away, and so
Did
now
we actually see that happen? We didn't see it.
No, she
No.
just appears there.
Yeah, okay.
so Frankenstein and Elizabeth have their
Followed the phone line.
their hugging their hugging moment, and Frankenstein's monster grabs the lever. Pretoria says, "Don't pull that.
Pull the lever.
Don't pull
That
the
will
lever.
smash us all to atoms.
It'll atomize us." And
Cross the streams.
Frankenstein has this last moment where
Well,
he basically
he tells her
he tells Frankenstein and Elizabeth
and
what?
Elizabeth
He tells
to
them
go.
what?
He says, "You go, you live.
We belong
This is
dead.
We
Yeah.
belong dead." Yeah, that was it.
That is a pretty rock star fucking line.
Yeah.
That was a good line.
We belong dead.
Yep.
And he's talking to the bride who should be dead, and Pretorius,
Who made her.
who made her, even though Henry's
finally-
not much better, but
But
Henry
he
gets a
finally
pass.
realized, I think, that Pretorius was because as we've all said, this dude's been getting smarter really quickly.
Yeah. Super.
So I think he got some powers of reason and figured out Pretorius is a fucking asshole.
yeah.
So we belong dead.
Yeah. Henry kind of
Henry, you go.
You go. You just don't do this again.
Your wife is 17. You
Yeah.
deserve to live.
Have fun with that. Give her one for me. And he pulls the lever.
Not before the bride makes that weird hissing.
Yeah, she does
that
she does
swan
the
hiss.
hiss.
Yeah.
And
Which is
and
very creepy.
it is
It
creepy.
was very creepy.
The whole thing, her like the shot of her head and
Yeah.
her eyes, and she's the makeup was very cool.
Oh yeah.
You know the whole look. Pulls the lever.
I wish there was a little more of her character in the movie.
You mean more
to be
than 2
honest.
minutes?
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
That'd be like if
great.
you went and saw Predator and the Predator was in 1 minute of the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like literally, that'd be like today if you went and saw Harry Potter and whatever, and Harry Potter is in none of the movie.
Yeah.
That's what they pulled on
It's called
people.
The Bride of Frankenstein.
It's literally.
She's there.
but
like,
you know
for
what?
2 minutes.
It still worked.
No.
I think they
does.
did the right thing.
They blow up the thing.
Yeah,
Henry-
in one of the most spectacular explosions
It
of
is.
1935.
Oh,
It is.
Fantastic.
It's awesome. That fucker just keeps
Yeah.
blowing. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom.
Yeah.
It's like a cascade of bricks just falling in
Yeah.
on itself. It's just
the charges
crazy.
were placed well.
I
Yeah.
imagine every castle has a lever that just blows it to
Well,
smithereens.
Fucking lever, man.
Yeah, it's a
Lever.
lever.
Sorry.
Lever 2000.
And then, and then let's not forget that this also, like all the other Universal horror movies, I think right after that, maybe it has one scene of like
Them hugging.
Henry and Elizabeth hugging,
And
like,
that's it.
We made out. Boom,
The
it's
end,
over.
right there. They still haven't figured out how to end a movie.
The Universal horror movies ambush ending.
Just an end.
Yeah.
Because that's what they are. They're like, Justin, you're like, there must be at least one. Oh, fuck, it's over. Holy shit.
Get out. We gotta reset this thing up for another
Yeah,
showing.
really. We're showing
You
this.
can almost picture in 1935, like the fucking lights just fucking bink
Yeah.
right on.
Yeah, get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody out. Go.
But we got dressed up for this.
Curtains
Get
up,
the fuck
lights
out.
on, get out.
Yep.
All right, so Bride of Frankenstein, we've been doing these shows, and at the end of it, we kind of each talk about where we put these in the. Now we're on five episodes and 5 movies. The prior ones were Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Invisible Man,
Right.
Bride of Frankenstein. Now, so we'll start with let's start with Larry this time.
All right.
Our guest. Let's see what Larry.
We're gonna start need to write these down. We're getting so many of them.
Really.
So, if I remember correctly, Frankenstein was my number 1, followed by The Invisible Man, and so forth and
Dracula
That's right.
to Mummy. Mummy was last for you.
so on. Yeah. So I now have a new number 1. My new number 1 is Bride.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Bride is my first, followed by Frankenstein, followed by Invisible Man, and then Dracula, and then The Mummy.
This might be universally kind of known as the first sequel that's better than the original.
Right.
It might be the first sequel. Was
Yeah,
there? Was there? I mean, was there?
Yeah,
any,
you're right.
Good point.
You know
You're
what I
right.
mean? That sequels weren't really a thing.
No.
And they wanted to shoot this directly after Frankenstein. They Boris Karloff was on loan
Karloff.
to 20th
Don't
Century
call him Boris
Fox.
Karloff.
I'm sorry, just Karloff. He was on loan for the House of Rothschild, so he couldn't film anything. They had to wait for that to be done before they did the sequel.
Oh, okay.
They wanted the sequel filmed immediately after Frankenstein.
Well, because it made a ton of money.
Right. So, yeah, it's my number one.
So again, we've been talking because this is kind of your deal with us.
My deal.
We talked about how in an earlier show, your dad always showed you the classic stuff, and your mom showed you like Blood Beach,
Yeah.
Murder,
Yep.
2000 or whatever.
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day, and what's the one with the shish kebab going in the guy's mouth?
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to me. So was this now? You said for Invisible Man that you kind of discovered that on your own. What about Bride? 'Cause
Bride
you
was
said
my dad.
You said Frankenstein. Your dad introduced you.
Yep.
to.
Yep. Frankenstein and Bride and Dracula. The Mummy I don't really remember, but Frankenstein, Bride, Dracula were definitely my dad.
Yeah.
And Bride was also his. No, I'm sorry. Creature from the Black Lagoon was his favorite. That's right. But Bride was definitely a favorite of his, but not his number one.
Right. Not number.
We'll see if Creature is my number one, like my dad's.
I can't
eventually.
wait. I can't wait to find out.
Man, I haven't seen that one forever either.
Should we watch it in 3D like we're supposed to?
I don't think I can.
Was that originally released in 3D?
I don't know, but I just remember being a kid and it was always on TV in 3D.
3D, yeah.
You'd have to go to the store
Yeah.
and get your glasses.
Stop and Shop. Yeah.
Right,
I remember that. Yeah.
I don't know if
Channel
the Blu-ray,
11.
Yeah.
the Blu-ray we have, is that 3D?
Oh no.
No. Okay.
No.
Nope. All right, Johnson. What do you got?
Not sure. It's a tough one because when I watched it the first time before when we were going to record many weeks ago,
Yeah.
I had a hard time getting into it and really wasn't fully invested into the whole thing. So when I watched it again this week, it's better. It's better than I remember. As a kid, I don't remember much of it. Like I said, the opening scene, the opening bits with Lord Byron and Mary Shelley, no recollection of that at all. So I have to wonder if even that was aired at any given point.
Yeah, I think I read
know?
somewhere that there was also an epilogue with those characters.
Yeah.
That maybe was shown in original runs, but it is not on the DVD I have, which
Yeah.
is the current version.
I certainly didn't see
Yeah.
one.
Which makes
so.
sense. You can imagine that they would probably come back to them and at least say, "Oh,
well-
what a wonderful story that would have been." You know, now let's gangbang her.
Put a book into it. Yeah, I don't know. And that definitely ramps up the whole idea of what they're doing for this film. It just makes it a different sort of story.
It's so creative. That
It's
whole
very
beginning
creative.
scene is so ahead of its time for storytelling purposes.
and you get some great characters again.
James Whale, man.
Yeah.
Give it up.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Visionary director.
I still like the Invisible Man better. I don't know.
All right.
It's
All
just-
right.
Again, James Whale, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're safe. You're on the wheel on the wheel watch.
I know whale watching.
But
All
this,
right.
is, this is it. We'll never do another
Yeah,
Whale.
there's
Another
no more
whale.
whale.
That's all.
It's a sad
We
thing.
got 3 left, and none of them are James Whale.
We can watch Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, maybe we can. We can throw that in there.
It's a great movie.
Lloyd, what do you have? Manster.
For this one, it shot right up to the top for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bride of Frankenstein #1, Frankenstein #2. I forget what the rest were.
Yeah. That's okay. We don't
I told you, we're getting to a point where we got to write them down so we can remember
Yeah,
them all.
it's just when you're getting into the main cast of this movie, because it's a lot smaller than some of the others.
Yeah.
It's very good. You get who's the actor that played Pretorius? That guy was just as you said. If James Whale liked him for his acting,
Ernest
Thesiger.
Thesiger.
yeah, and I know I looked him up before. I just can't remember what the hell he did. But my God. The rolling of the R's
Oh,
and
was
the in.
fantastic,
I mean,
that
he
guy.
would just get so in depth.
He reminded
into it.
me of I don't know why the name's not coming to my head. The guy who played Tarkin,
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
He reminded me.
Oh
of
yeah, definitely.
Facially, he
I
reminds
see
me of
that.
Peter
Yeah,
Cushing.
he's got that
The drawn face.
Yeah, the drawn face. I'm sure that and I could picture him blowing all around.
Cushing
up,
would have knocked
you know?
that fucking roll out of the
God,
park.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God,
No
yeah.
doubt about it. It
Yeah.
would have been perfect.
You know, I don't recall actually seeing this movie, in my younger days. But it's funny, I do remember seeing Frankenstein talking, but I don't remember seeing this movie.
Yeah.
So
Smoke.
yeah.
Good drink, pussy.
Pussy.
All that was waiting,
He never says pussy. All right. So, all right. For me, it was Frankenstein. I think #2 was at this point I would say prior Frankenstein, Invisible Man, Mummy, Dracula.
Right.
Right. Now it is the same order, just with Bride of Frankenstein on top.
So 3 out of 4 of us.
So 3 out of 4 of us. Bride of Frankenstein.
Everybody
really,
wants the bride on top.
Yeah. I don't know.
Reverse cowboy.
I enjoyed the story. I'm impressed by the beginning scene, the prologue scene. I'm impressed by the Pretorius, the actor. And a lot of the actors in this.
Well,
and the effects. The effects are so fucking badass in this movie. That like that last scene.
The whole final sequence is great.
It's better than some shit you see today.
Right.
And I'm not even being funny. It's practical, obviously, because whatever. And just this movie has, yes, just like Invisible Man, it's got its layer of kind of maybe not necessarily like James Whale humor.
Unintentionally funny.
Unintentionally funny, but probably intentional to an extent
tongue
too.
in cheek.
Tongue in cheek. Right. I enjoyed it. Bride of Frankenstein, thumbs up.
Yeah.
What happened to Whale? I mean, Gods and Monsters. This was it, right? Like he really. I mean, I know he directed some stuff after, but nowhere near this level.
No, and
was he drummed out for being gay? Because I mean,
he got super depressed.
Being gay in 1935,
right?
Probably wasn't.
He didn't want to do monster movies anymore. I know that much.
Yeah.
I know I read about him around the time we were going to record this the first time. And I'm going to paraphrase, but I do remember that towards the end of his life, he stopped working in film. He killed himself.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
He overdosed on pills.
Okay.
And either threw himself into a swimming pool
or he accidentally did.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Well, no. He left a suicide note.
Yeah, he left a note.
Yeah. He left this note that was don't despair over me. And
I had a great life, etc.
But I mean, he was
what I'm trying to figure out is so he's got these hits. These are smash hits. But that's it.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't really do much of note, I don't think.
Well, like you said, I mean...
being gay in 1935.
Not just being gay in 1935.
Openly
gay.
Yeah, openly.
That is like sci-fi.
I'm sure there was plenty of gay people in 1935, but I'm saying, he was not secret. There was no closets.
That's what I mean. I mean, that's that's unheard of.
Right. So,
for the most part,
So, I mean, did Hollywood finally say, screw that, we don't want...
It's possible.
Yeah.
I mean...
This is all pre-war.
Yeah.
So the world was changing, and that's a good thing. Maybe we'll do some research before we do the next episode and just do a little prologue.
episode.
Yeah, James Whale episode, or just add a little bit into the end of one of our episodes. Yeah, I mean he's made, again, this is the earliest example of a cinematic universe. Even though not everything's moving together, they kept making these movies. I mean, we're doing 8 of them, but there's fucking 50 or 60 Universal horror films, that went on and on and on for many years. Lloyd, you get the reins this time, but I want you to say it like Frankenstein.
See ya. It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.